would like to see how they can apply for those loans. And I'll just be brief because I know there are a lot of folks who have a lot of business.
And because the flyers are there, if you know anybody who have businesses, just make sure that we get this word out, because it really will be helpful in hopefully getting our small businesses back whole again. Any other questions for Sherman's office? Thank you so much. And then Dusty.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dusty Russell. I am a field representative for State Senator Prnc Meet. Our office has been very involved with this issue since the very beginning, and we continue to do just that. Our office continues to be in consistent contact with the neighborhood council. We thank them very much for their leadership on this issue. We've also been in communication with other local organizations, state agencies, the governor's office, and our office also continues to help constituents with their claims to SoCal Gas relocation and other reimbursements. Other things that are happening at the state level, the appropriate state agencies are beginning their investigations on the cause of the leak and also the response efforts. The State Attorney General recently filed a lawsuit against SoCal Gas. This is actually joining the city and the county's lawsuit. This is for public nuisance charges. In addition, they are also filing charges for air contaminant releases and impairment to natural resources. As some of you might be aware, Senator Pavley has taken leadership at the state level, authoring and co-authoring 3 pieces of really important legislation that are related to this leak. And they help to address the immediate potential risks of the facility, but also in the longer term, they would seek to strengthen gas storage facility standards statewide and address the proximity concerns of storage facilities to what they call sensitive receptors, including residences and schools. Lastly, her legislation also seeks to bring greater accountability to state agencies and the private utilities. Just to give you a status on what we're pushing right now, we're really pushing an urgency legislation. It's SB 380, and what this would do is it would establish an immediate moratorium on any natural and gas injections into any of the wells up there. This sort of echoes what the governor has done, but it goes into further detail about what bringing this facility back online would mean, more detail about the comprehensive inspections that would be required. So we're pushing that bill right now. We were able to move it swiftly through the Senate. We've hit a couple roadblocks in the Assembly. It was referred to the Assembly on Monday and is now in the Assembly Utilities and Commerce Committee. So we are reaching out to as many folks as we can for support on that. If you want to reach out to your Assembly members and let them know that this is a top priority, we would really like to push this through. Our concern about too much of a delay on SB 380 is that if the well is capped and if the governor decides to rescind his state of emergency, then there's no guarantee that the rest of the wells up there will be comprehensively inspected. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. I'm going to keep that short too. So.
Cool. The other thing I want to say is that I've been pushing for a one sheet that we can pass out to the community that basically will explain, is the site safe, is the air safe, is my home safe, and then basic information about moving back and what those timelines look like. We have asked Dogger and the governor's office for extensive information on what the testing they are going to do before they allow more gas to come in, and we feel like the community needs to know that and needs to know what's going on. So we're trying to get it all in one document for you guys. Right now, I think the challenge is we're chasing information from all the different agencies, and so we're trying to get that information. County Health has got some good information for us tonight that's going to be helpful, that we'll be able to get up on the website. But Senator Powell's office has been very helpful in just pushing through some of the things that the community's had concerns about. So I'm very grateful for that. Does anyone have any questions for Senator's office? All right, thank you so much. And then Andre?
On behalf of your State Assemblyman, Scott Look, it is a pleasure, as always, to be here. I will get right down to the nitty-gritty. The Assemblyman will be introducing a 4-bill package with respect to this catastrophe, the gas leak. I'll get right to them. One bill, he's waiting for them to come back to make sure they're codified in proper legal language so that he can introduce them in the Assembly. One of the bills would require the Public Utilities Commission, which I'll speak about in much more detail, that commission a bit later. But the bill would require the PUC to team with the State Department of Health to conduct a study of the long-term health effects of the gas leak on community members, extending outside of, much farther outside of the arbitrary 5-mile radius. So that's one bill. Another bill would require the Department of Toxic Substances Control, which is a state agency which is required to go into an area that has been contaminated and restored to health. So it will require that agency to evaluate odorants that are much safer than the mercaptan that the gas company uses and poses a much lower risk, if any, to the residents. Third bill will initiate an independent peer review of the natural gas industry in totality, including the practice of fracking, risks, and current mitigation techniques. Overall, this bill would look at the safety standards of the entire industry to make sure that they're much more modernized so that we don't experience the type of disaster that you're having to go through now. And that's 3. Here's a 4th one, then I'll get to a 5th separate bill. The cornerstone of this package, which he's going to introduce relatively soon, very soon actually, it's going to double the statute of limitations. A lot of people, for personal injury that is, a lot of people have had, from what we know thus far, constant nosebleeds, rashes, body rashes, incessant headaches. There's no guarantee that that may be nausea as well, that may be all that we experience. If that is the case, if those illnesses don't diminish, if they're exacerbated, he wants to double the statute of limitations from 2 to 4 years so that if someone wants to take civil action, here's the key wording, within 4 years after the date of injury or after they had sufficient information to confirm their injury was a result of the gas leak. So that's the cornerstone of it. And then he has one more piece. This is, in his opinion, a wildly historic and significant piece of legislation. The Public Utilities Commission was created by constitutional amendment. It regulates water, electricity, gas storage, rail transportation, railroad industry, etc., etc., etc. It's essentially, because it has constitutional authority, because it's birthed really out of the Constitution, it's an island unto itself. It does not answer to the legislature whatsoever. The Assemblyman believes that the PUC, prime example is the gas leak, is fraught with bureaucracy, such that there is no real regulation, no real oversight. There is really no modernizing of that agency in any way, shape, or form. Case in point, the gas leak. In 2010, some of you may know, there was a massive gas pipeline explosion in San Bruno, killed, I think, 8 people, injured dozens more. The relationship, in the Assemblyman's opinion, between the PUC and the governor's office is far too close. The relationship between the PUC and the utilities, far, far too cozy. So he's teamed up with Assemblyman Mike Gatto, who's chair of the Utilities Commission or Committee of the Assembly. They've come together. They're introducing an Assembly concurrent amendment. It's an initiative that, if passed by the Assembly and the State Senate, will not go to the governor's office, but it'll be brought before all of you this November on the ballot. So you make your own decisions. If you believe that the PUC thus far has conducted itself in such a way as to make a safe environment for you, keep it as is. If you vote for this initiative, it would remove Article 12 from the state constitution, which is where the PUC's power emanates from. It would completely strike Article 12 out, such that it wouldn't operate without any interference from the legislature. It would completely rewrite the PUC the legislature would have from until July 1st of 2018, it would have from January of next year until that date in 2018 to completely reallocate certain functions of the PUC. It would take certain responsibilities that don't really fit the core authority of the PUC and relegate them to other agencies or possibly a successor agency. But bottom line, he believes that what the PUC has done thus far, gas leak oversight, San Bruno scandal, other things of that nature, proves that you're in danger that you shouldn't be in. I think we all know that's the case. So that's, if it's passed in both houses, comes before you, you then vote for it, it's up to all of you. That will completely change it so that we don't face another scandal as we're going to do.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
And this isn't prejudicing how I'm going to vote either way if this comes to us. Are the commissioners appointed by the governor and approved by the legislature? Or
They are appointed by the governor,
Uh-huh.
5 members of the commission, the PUC, 6-year staggered terms, but they are approved by the state senate. Let's be honest. This is Jerry Brown, immensely powerful. He will get his way.
I just wanted to know how it was done.
Yeah, that's the way it's done.
Any other questions? You mentioned about 5 radius around the area
Yes.
that they are in danger, or definitely. Well, I can tell you right now that it's not. I don't think it's 5 radius around. I'll probably have to review that because I will say it's even more than 10.
Oh, absolutely. That was a determination made by SoCal Gas. They looked at an area of 5 miles within the area of the gas leak as the most immediately impacted area. We think it's much farther.
11, 12 tons.
Absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head. Yeah.
It's just considered that it's not 5 radius around.
No, it's not.
Much.
It's not. You know, we get calls in the office. There was a young man who has an 18-month-old daughter. Constant nosebleeds. They don't live in a 5-mile radius.
I get 10 miles from this, and I'm.
Where do you live in particular?
Mission Hills. Mission Hills. Yeah, and let me tell you, since November, this is what I'm used to. And I never used this before. Yes.
Yes. One final thing. The Assemblyman has had a lot of calls with respect to immense and drastic spikes in gas bills. Far and beyond your normal $20, $30 for your winter increase. So he contacted the PUC and stated, I'm getting tons of phone calls, tons of emails. These aren't normal spikes. It's 100, 200, 300 times the normal amount. Happened to someone in my office, matter of fact. So he sent a letter to the PUC saying, you need to investigate SoCal Gas for possible price gouging. Dealing with the PUC, they're an island unto themselves. They do whatever in the heck they want. It's an uphill battle. Fortunately, they got back to him, I believe, yesterday. And they said, okay, here's what we're going to do for you. We will analyze 5 gas bills from anyone in your area. His first thought is, 5? Well, they're an island unto themselves, so we have to settle for 5. But on the Assemblyman's Facebook page, I don't really do Facebook, I'm way more Twitter, but I just typed in Scott Wilkes, State Assemblyman, it's his official government Facebook page. Go to that. You're going to see Aliso Canyon gas leak. It's a little picture of the facility. Type in your name, whatever you'd like. For the next 24 hours, someone will randomly pick 5 people. Obviously, the numbers are low. He represents thousands and thousands. But dealing with the PUC, this is a small step, but still a significant one. So go to his Facebook page, comment on it for the next 23 hours at this point, and your gas may be reviewed, the bill that is, by SoCal Gas. Can I take a question? Yes, sir.
Your boss's name, I'm sorry. Again.
Scott Wilk, W-I-L-K like milk. I appreciate that laughter. I'll be here all week.
No, we won't.
Yes, ma'am.
Bills were bigger, but
Oh.
don't they have to bill them by the amount you use? Did they inflate that, or did they just guess at what we used?
And that's why they're gonna analyze the bills. There are so many questions. Where do you start?
There's also the new electronic meters, a
Oh.
whole bunch of things that people are concerned about.
Yes, a litany of things, matter of fact. So, and that's my report. I've taken up far too much of your time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,